The Weta Sideshow kind of collectible series really was an offshoot of Richard Taylor and I both being collectors of these kind of figures. I'm a collector of things that sort of interest me. Fortunately, most of the stuff that I like today is the same thing I used to love when I was a kid. So my collections have sort of started when I was 7 or 8 years old and still going. As you can see, these are a few of the kits in my own collection that I put together over the years. One of my hobbies is collecting high quality resin kits from famous movies, and I've got hundreds of them. These are a few of the ones that I've actually managed to get painted. There's a lot more in boxes that I haven't yet. And in the 5 years that we've been working on Lord of the Rings, one of my dreams has been to be involved closely with the production of great collectible items from the film based on the designs of Weta and Richard Taylor and his gang.
The coolest thing about these model kits is that they capture a frozen moment. These collectibles capture a piece of memory permanently encapsulated in resin or polystone from a film. As a collector myself, I really had a desire to try and create high quality polystone statuettes so that they would capture both the flavour and essence of the character of the actor, but also show the detail and hopefully artistic beauty of the craft that went into the costuming, armour and weapons.
Usually collectibles based on movies are sort of made by licensees. They're made by toy manufacturers who do this for a living, and all they do is make toys and they buy the licenses from various film studios. In our case, we wanted to do something that I don't think has ever been done before, which is to have the model collectible figures made by the same artists that actually worked on the movie.
I really loved the idea that through Weta we could take our favourite moments from these epic films and present them as beautiful pieces of sculpture.
So, you know, Gollum is sculpted by the person that sculpted Gollum for the film, and the characters are based on, you know, what was done in the workshop, and then it's almost like the final collectible figure is the final version of that character sculpted by the Weta crew for posterity's sake.
Look at Vigo. Look at the detail on the fingers. Look at the lines in the hands. I worked with Christopher Lee one day, and he waved to me. That's exactly what the bottom of his hand looks like.
When we first presented the idea to the cast of Lord of the Rings that we wanted to produce our own line of collectibles here at Weta, this was before we had even had the good fortune of meeting Sideshow, we were overwhelmed by their enthusiasm.
Go Weta. Go Weta.
Across the other side of the world at exactly the same time, Sideshow, already being an established merchandising company, was looking for an opportunity to gain a piece of the Lord of the Rings merchandising pie.
Our effort at Sideshow has been to find a partner that could help us to achieve a level of authenticity that would allow us to bring to market figure collectibles that would be of the highest quality, but also highly representative of what you see on film.
And through a mutual friend, Gino Acevedo, who works with me here at Weta, we forged a relationship.
Now, Gino Acevedo is a personal friend of mine and was the supervisor of the makeup effects on the film. And during a holiday in the US, a short break from the film, I invited him over to our studio and we discussed the possibility of what it would be like to partner with Weta in the making of this product.
Greg got a hold of me and I said, well, it just so happens that Richard Taylor, who owns Weta Workshop, wants to do the same thing. So I said, you guys got to get together.
The fact that we partnered with Weta and Weta was creating the figure collectibles simultaneous with the last months of the shooting of the film allowed them to invite some of the actors and actresses into their studio to critique their work, but also to support and encourage them about poses and certain looks or expressions that they were trying to achieve or thought were more iconic for what their character represented.
Slightly more forward, but not completely, kind of.
We could go on set, discuss the certain pose, the actors would actually pose for us so we could get a whole array of photographs, and then even cooler than that, a number of the actors would return to Weta and sit for us, sit for their actual sculptures so we could sculpt from life.
Well, I think what I should do is I should do a few poses for you.
So Ian McKellen was incredibly generous with his assistance and help in us getting his pieces correct. And it was just a wonderful opportunity that afforded us to become closer even still to the amazing people that have made the talent on Lord of the Rings. So the task was set to the sculptors that work here at Weta Workshop to bring these creations to life through very, very fine sculpting from life and really deliver to the collector a piece that is not a Xerox, but rather is a fine art sculpture of the actor that played the part in the film.
Cool. Well, thank you. It's been cool.
You know, you can imagine being effects workshop technicians, we don't get out much. So to have the actors responding so warmly to the pieces we'd done was truly fantastic.
How's it going?
Good. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Almost there.
I think when people went to the Two Towers, what surprised them the most was Gollum, and I think he took a lot of people by surprise. And so that felt like a natural to be the character that's included in the Two Towers special edition video. And we couldn't make up our mind whether we wanted to have Gollum or Smeagol, because obviously he has this dual personality. So, you know, we've come up with this concept of releasing Smeagol in the box set, but giving people an opportunity to also collect Gollum if they so wish. And the two of them are designed as bookends, and so you can actually have Gollum on one side, Smeagol on the other, basically sitting on the same rock holding the same fish, but in two very distinctive poses which represent each character.
And so Gollum, Smeagol just felt right for this collectibles box. So we sculpted a first sculpture. Jamie Best-Warwick sculpted it. It was very, very carefully art directed by Peter, because Peter had a very, very specific and strong vision of the piece that he loved from the film that he thought we should best represent.
We wanted to have a character that represented Gollum from the books and didn't just represent necessarily a scene that we'd created especially for the movie, that we wanted it to be, you know, Gollum as we all know him. We thought about where in the movie should our pose come from, should it represent, you know, which particular piece of the film. And I think the scene where he's got the fish by the pool, he's about to get lured into captivity, the Forbidden Pool it's called. I thought that one in a way captured the Gollum that I remember from the book almost more successfully than any other.
To capture fish so juicy, sweet.
He's just at his happiest, really. You know, he's been freed, and it's just the moment of slight suspicion as Frodo's asking him to come with him.
Smeagol! Master is here!
So the moment that we've tried to capture with this sculpture is that moment where Smeagol first hears his master's voice, and he's got the fish, he was about to take a bite, and then his attention's caught.
Come, Smeagol! Trust Master! Come!
We must go now.
Smeagol, you must trust Master. Follow me, come on. Come. Come, Smeagol. Nice, Smeagol. That's it. Come on.
That was one of the first fully skinned and rendered and lit Gollum shots, funnily enough, that everybody went crazy about when they saw it. I just remember I went down to animation and had a look, and everybody was just kind of going, that is it, we've at last cracked it. And it was quite late on in the process.
All of our design process ultimately starts with drawing, illustration, conceptual design. As soon as we have the essence of what we're trying to achieve, it then goes straight to sculpting. We call them three-dimensional maquettes. They're little sketches in plasticine that will suggest in 3D the essence of what the sculpture will ultimately try and capture. Once we've got that working, we then go to the final sculpt. In the beginning, it was ultimately quite tricky figuring out who would get to do which piece, because everyone was keen on certain pieces, but due to the good will of everyone that was working at the Weta workshop, they ultimately bargained with each other till everyone was happy with the pieces they were doing.
The Weta Workshop is an amazing facility, and Richard Taylor, he's like the father figure for everybody, and the whole place is a big family. I mean, we live together like a family here. We fight like a family, but it's great. And the amount of talent that's here in the workshop is just incredible.
Yeah, what you're voting on here is whether you like the idea.
Once the sculpture's finished and we have all had a group discussion about whether we consider it ready to mould, because at that point everyone gets involved and everyone's allowed to critique on each other's sculptures.
Yeah, it all works really well. Oh, it's brilliant.
We then take it to the moulding shop. Jason Doherty, our workshop supervisor, then supervises the very, very careful task of moulding it. A bad mould can destroy a beautiful sculpture, so a perfect mould has to be made. As much care as is put into the sculpture is put into the mould. It then goes through to Pedro Mason's workshop, where he does all of the urethane castings. He produces the masters out of the silicon mould. He uses a two-part, non-expanding urethane. And with that material, using a vacuum chamber to make sure we get no air bubbles, we start to produce the original masters. Then it goes through to David Tremont's department. He does all the finished cleanup work on the pieces and makes sure that they have no seams or no finer little bubbles. He primes them with a grey primer. Then 3 of them are sent up to Gino's room. Gino Acevedo is our senior prosthetics supervisor, but Gino also designs all the colour schemes of the creatures we do at Weta.
While I was trying to come up with a paint scheme, we had lots of conversations about the character and, you know, following the books and the story about where Gollum was living in the caves and stuff. So we thought, you know, he should definitely be very, very pale since he doesn't get out into the sun very much. And in the skin, he would have a lot of rashes and things, you know, Peter wanted, because Peter wanted him to be able to kind of scratching every now and then and things like that. And then with the fish, you know, we've added some things like adding a very high gloss to the fish so it looks nice and wet, and same with his eyes. So from all that gets transferred, you know, into the little collectible that we have here that's going to be out on the DVD.
David, meanwhile, continues to make the mould masters back in his workshop. He probably will make 60 in all, and these are the master copies that multiple moulds will be taken from to allow us to replicate such a massive number of pieces.
Every piece is hand-painted. They've got an amazing team at the factories where they've got all these people with paintbrushes and airbrushes sitting there just very delicately, just paintings, little details on the pieces. It was really amazing.
I think it's excellent. Good.
The actors, being so different, ultimately reacted in such a different way, and from the most outrageous responses to what we'd sculpted for them to the most complimentary and beautiful comments.
And look at that. Gorgeous on the neck, right in there. I love it.
I was around when the sculptor Brad Dourif came on set, because it was actually Brad's last day on our shoot. And he was about to leave. I think he'd just about finished his last shot and was getting changed and going to say goodbye to us all to get on his aeroplane, and the Weta folk had just finished sculpting the bust of Wormtongue, and they rushed it onto set so he could just have a look at it before he left. And it's a beautiful sculpt. I mean, it's exactly like him, and he was very happy with it.
Really beautiful. Good. Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
For instance, like with the Aragorn figure, Vigo would come in here while I was painting him, and he would show me the areas on his hand where he actually had cuts and scars, and where he had orc blood, and where he had orc blood that was splattered onto his face, as you can see here. And even the fine details, is even the mud splatters and stuff, you know, that's on his cloak. You know, he would tell me that the colors of mud that were on there and the areas that it was splattered on. And even on the sword, you know, at one time I had a bit too much blood on there, and he goes, no, that's too much blood, you got to take some of that off of there. And it was just fantastic to be able to have the cast come here and to give all the specifics on everything and all the fine details.
I think people like Sir Ian McKellen really appreciated that Jamie Beswarwick in the sculptures he was doing of Ian was spending hours, days, weeks pondering and finessing tiny moments within the face of Ian. And Ian really seemed to appreciate that we cared so much about creating a perfect sculpture of him. And Ian played a huge part in the art direction of his particular character and look in the piece.
Handled with dignity, a dwarf will last for 1,200 years.
John Rhys Davies, who plays Gimli, got to know him very, very well. Myself and Dominique Till were the makeup artists who did John's makeup. And John's makeup in the film took about 4.5 hours to do each day, and he loved every minute of it. And Bill Hunt, who sculpted this piece, just captured just the perfect look of Gimli. And we had, plenty.
Well, Richard's got a few more painted than I have. Mine are sort of sitting there. Some of them are made, some of them have got primer on them, some of them are painted, and a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are just sitting there in boxes for the day, waiting for the day that I retire. Which, who knows, could be like 5-6 months away.
To me, they're beautiful pieces of art. I actually even have them in my will for my son. I think of them in such a special way.
I think it's an interesting situation where there's been a shift in the last 2 or 3 years from basically kits that you buy unpainted where you have to glue them up yourself and fill up the seams and sort of finish them and then paint them, to ones that are pre-cast, pre-painted. So I think there's people that love model making and there's people that just like, collecting them and having them on their shelf as a souvenir of the film.
The 3D collectibles created by Sideshow Weta are a celebration of the broad spectrum of characters originally created by Tolkien. and the amazing work created by Weta Workshop for the film.
We had a range of figures, 6-scale figures standing about 12 inches tall, that would be the actors or the creatures, the orcs, the Uruk-hai, in their full armour with their weapons in poses that represented their moods from the film, certain scenes from the film. Then we'd create a range of busts. The busts would be like classical Roman busts, painted to better study the detail and the culture of the costuming of these characters. Then we did a series of plaques ranging from small round medallion-like plaques that captured little moments in bronze from the film. We also created environments, taking beautiful sets and locations from the film and sculpted these in fine detail. Over and above that, we also thought that people would enjoy collecting plaques that showed all of the weapons of Middle-earth, so we created a set that represented these things. And then on top of all of this, we thought it would be neat to do very limited edition special pieces of some of the more outrageous creatures of Middle-earth.
When all is said and done, Sideshow Weta Collectibles will have produced nearly 200 different items based upon Peter Jackson's trilogy.
In the process, we believe we've managed to create a really rich and beautiful array of collectibles that any fan can now enjoy and find a piece that suits their particular memories of the film.
Prior to the release of the Fellowship of the Ring and the release of the Sideshow Weta Collectibles, Helen Clark, Prime Minister of New Zealand, was invited to Weta Workshop to review the line and to give it her blessing.
Right, launching the collectibles.
They are totally unique because the same artists who worked on the conceptions and worked from conceptual drawings through sculptures, through seeing it worked up into, you know, what you see in the film, are the same people who are producing these works of art. And so they are completely authentic.
When you're creating any sculptural piece, ultimately what you're trying to do is touch the viewer emotionally by the intention within the sculpture.
Because they are moments of time. They are moments of time, absolutely. Caught exactly like the Gollum one, you know.
The Gollum collectible is going to be a favourite, I think. He's a really cool figure.